It's 7 in the evening on a Tuesday, and you're standing in a dealership parking lot trying to talk yourself into something. The truck is black, fully loaded Dodge Ram pickup truck with leather seats and chrome trim, the kind of vehicle that makes you feel like the last 6 years of grinding actually meant something. You got promoted 3 weeks ago, first real salary with benefits. You'd been driving the same beat-up Honda Civic since college, and honestly, you're tired of being embarrassed seen driving it. The salesman walks over. He doesn't ask whether you can afford it. He doesn't ask about your savings rate or your retirement balance or what you've got in your emergency fund. He asks one question: what monthly payment works for you? And that question is the whole game, because the second you answer it, you've already lost. My name is Joe, and I wish someone had sat me down years ago and shown me what I'm about to show you. Not to lecture me, not to make me feel stupid, just to run the actual numbers before I signed anything. Because the math behind this decision is something the dealership will never voluntarily put in front of you. And once you see it, you'll never walk onto a lot the same way again. So let's go back to that Tuesday evening and actually look at what's happening. The truck on the lot has a sticker price of $63,000. After dealer fees, taxes, title, and the extended warranty the finance manager will absolutely talk you into, you're sitting at $70,000. You put $7,000 down. You finance $63,000 at 7% interest over 72 months. The payment the salesman comes back with is $1,076 per month. And honestly, it doesn't sound that bad. You ran the mental math on the drive over. That's less than a lot of people pay for rent. It's maybe 15 to 20% of your take-home pay. You've seen the personal finance advice: keep transportation under 15% of income. You're a little over, but not dramatically. You feel like a responsible adult making a reasonable decision. And if this is already hitting close to home, drop a comment right now. What age were you when you realized you were losing money on vehicles? I read every single one, and the answers are always eye-opening. Here's what you don't know yet. Over those 6 years of payments, you'll send the bank $77,500. Add the down payment, and you're all in for $84,500. When you make that last payment, the truck will be worth around $30,000. You handed over $84,500 and received an asset worth $30,000. That gap, that $54,000 gap, just quietly evaporated.
But that's still not the number that should bother you most. Here's what the ownership experience actually looks like. The payment squeezes the budget immediately. Fuel costs nearly double because the truck gets 16 miles per gallon and your Civic got 34. Insurance spikes past what you budgeted. Tires hit in year 3. An unexpected repair goes on a credit card. The emergency fund, which was $4,000 when you signed, is $340 by year 4. And when you make that final payment in year 6, the truck needs work, and your coworker just posted photos of the new model. You already know how this ends. That's not bad luck. That's the predictable, documented cost of owning a $70,000 vehicle on a $67,000 salary. It plays out the same way for hundreds of thousands of people every single year. Now here's the math I genuinely wish I'd seen earlier. That $1,076 monthly payment you're sending to the bank, what if you'd sent it somewhere else instead? What if you'd bought a solid used car for cash and invested that same amount every month into a basic index fund? At 7% average annual return, which is a conservative long-term estimate for a diversified portfolio, that monthly amount grows to about $175,000 after 10 years. After 20 years, it's $450,000. After 35 years, it's just under $2 million. $2 million from one monthly payment decision made at 25 years old. That's the number the dealership doesn't show you. That's the math that makes this a retirement decision, not a transportation decision. And look, you need a vehicle. This isn't about telling you to walk everywhere. So let's adjust the comparison to be realistic. Instead of the $70,000 truck, you buy a 3-year-old reliable used car for $18,000 cash. The difference in total monthly cost between those two choices, including the payment, the insurance gap, the extra fuel, and the maintenance premium, is conservatively around $800 per month. $800 invested monthly at 7% over 35 years becomes roughly $1.4 million. The difference between those two vehicles isn't just comfort and leather seats, it's a retirement. Now let's talk about why smart people still make this decision, because it's not stupidity. The dealership is genuinely very good at what it does. Their business isn't selling trucks, their business is extracting the maximum amount of money from you in the shortest window of time while making you feel great about it. The truck sale itself earns the dealership maybe $2,400 in profit. The real money is in the financing commission they collect from the bank, the extended warranty at $1,800 profit, the paint protection package, the gap insurance. They made more money on the paperwork than on the vehicle, and they've refined this process through thousands of transactions. You're doing it twice in your life. The information gap is enormous, and it's not an accident. They also understand something deeper about human psychology. The truck isn't really getting from point A to point B. It's about identity. It's about arriving somewhere you've been working toward. The marketing isn't selling towing capacity. It's selling the version of yourself that's finally made it. Research shows that roughly 75% of truck owners tow anything once a year or less. The most common use of a full-size pickup in America is commuting to a desk job. They're selling a very expensive costume, and they're extraordinarily good at it.
Here's a comparison that I think makes this real. Picture two 25-year-olds. Same city, same salary, same starting point. Brian buys the black Dodge Ram on that Tuesday evening. He feels great about it. Jacob buys a 3-year-old Toyota Camry for cash and starts investing the difference every month. From the outside, Brian looks like he's winning. Better vehicle, more presence, people notice. Jacob looks like he's playing it safe, maybe even a little behind. Fast forward to age 55. Brian has owned 5 trucks across his career, each one financed, each one a little more expensive than the last. He's got a nice vehicle in the driveway and about $200,000 in retirement savings. He's doing the math on whether he can actually afford to retire in 10 years, and the answer is making him anxious. Jacob has driven boring, reliable cars his entire adult life. Nobody's ever commented on what he drives, but he's sitting on just under $1.4 million in investments. Brian can retire early. Jacob can't afford to retire at all. Same salary, same city, same 30 years. One decision, repeated. The regret, when it comes, doesn't arrive all at once. It shows up gradually when an unexpected expense lands on a credit card because the emergency fund is gone. It shows up when a colleague mentions maxing out a Roth IRA and you realize you haven't contributed to yours in 2 years. It shows up at 45 when you run your retirement projections for the first time and the number staring back at you isn't what you imagined. The median American between 55 and 64 has about $185,000 saved for retirement. To retire comfortably, they need closer to $1.2 million. Most of them aren't short because they failed to earn enough. Many of them are short because a significant portion of their earning years was dedicated to depreciating assets instead of compounding ones. Vehicles are the second largest household expense in America, and they're treated like a lifestyle accessory instead of one of the most powerful retirement levers you'll ever control. Here's the framework that actually helps. Before any large purchase, multiply the cost by 10 and ask yourself if that future number is worth what you're getting today. A $70,000 truck isn't a $70,000 decision, it's a $700,000 to $1 million decision, once compounding is accounted for across a career. An $18,000 used car is a $180,000 decision. Those aren't similar, they're separated by a retirement. This doesn't require living miserably in a terrible car. Buy a 3-year-old vehicle and let someone else absorb the worst depreciation years. Choose the base trim over the luxury package. The towing capacity is identical. The difference invested over 30 years is not. None of those choices are glamorous, but neither is extending your working years by half a decade because a monthly payment felt manageable at 25. The salesman asking about your monthly payment isn't your enemy. He's doing his job, but his job and your financial future are pointed in completely opposite directions. And now you know that before you walk through the door. Here's the truth that took me too long to understand. Looking successful and being successful are two different strategies, and for most people, you don't get to run both at the same time. Every dollar that goes toward the image of wealth is a dollar that isn't compounding into the reality of it. The truck in that dealership lot isn't just a vehicle, it's a choice about what the next 30 years look like.
Now you have the math, and the math doesn't care how good the leather smells. Before you go, drop your current vehicle and your monthly payment in the comments. No judgment, just want to show you what that number actually becomes by retirement. The math might surprise you.